Wingman Joker, thank you for listening to this channel and please support the channel. Please subscribe. Chapter 411, Visitors. Make sure to keep the luminous stones on you at all times, Lily told the girls, especially you Alicia. I understand, Alicia nodded. They were all standing in a clearing in a dark forest, surrounded by tall ominous-looking trees. In the last couple of days before their long journey, Lily, after giving them a choice whether to follow her or leave, explained everything needed to those who decided to follow her. It was a world beyond anything they could imagine, and they knew that their lives were about to change after they entered this dungeon. Once you get your classes, try to use them and hunt a few ghouls, but don't overdo it, your safety is a priority. Lily added, Julian, try to get to the boss's room as fast as possible, I will not wait for you. I know, Julian said. Now be ready, Lily said as she approached a large stone in the middle of the clearing. She paused. Wait a moment, she said as she reached with her hand under her robes and took out the necklace around its neck. It was shining. What's that? Julian asked. A phone call. You girls can rest, this will take some time. Lily said as she sat in a meditative pose and closed her eyes. This was her first time doing this, but she knew how it worked, so she was not surprised when she opened her eyes and found herself in a large cave. But that's not what grabbed her eyes. Right in front of her sat a devilishly handsome young man, grilling something on a strange purple fire. He looked at her and she looked at him. Both of them began to breathe hard, or that what was they felt as the connection between them grew stronger. They were in their soul forms that hid nothing, so they couldn't help it as they were hit by each other's charm. The next moment they were all over each other, kissing while hugging tightly. They really missed each other. Ellipsis. Roy slowly followed the little girls who were guided by the suspicious-looking man into an abandoned warehouse that was guarded by two evil-looking gangsters. Is the party really here? Will we be able to meet Mira? Lara asked naively. Yes, it is inside, but please don't tell anyone I let you in, the evil-looking man said. We won't, the blonde girl said, nodding to Lara and then stepping in. The rest of the girls quickly followed. The evil man, watching them enter, nodded to his friends and then followed inside. A party, here, was this some kind of a test? Roy wondered. No matter what, he couldn't let those little girls face any danger. Still, he was not sure if he could take out those two men at the entrance, he needed to find an alternative way in. Looking around, he found nothing useful, so he quickly tried to circle the warehouse until he was able to find a suitable entrance. As he walked, he tried to access the workers around. There were about 5 suspicious men who eyed him as he walked, forcing him to act a little drunk. They were all a part of the same gang. Roy could tell from the spider tattoo on their forearms. It took him a few minutes, but he quickly found an entrance. It was a window on the warehouse's gabled tin roof that was reachable. Entering through it would be tricky, but he had to do it just in case. Iris told him that it was not a test. She already informed George and help was on the way. She gave him a mission to keep an eye on the girls and intervene if anything went wrong before the cavalry arrived. So, making sure no one was looking, he quickly used abandoned wooden boxes as leverage, and climbed the warehouse's wall using some parkour movements, reaching a roof ledge and then climbing up. Thanks to the family training and all the pills they were giving them, his physics seemed to have been enhanced considerably in the last week. He kept his body straight as he crawled on the roof toward the window. But just before he reached it, a series of loud explosions banged inside, making him hurry up and duck as many gangsters down below ran to the door. Making sure they were all gone, he hurried toward the window and peered inside. He could see nothing. The entire warehouse was filled with a thick layer of smoke. Those explosions earlier must have come from smoke grenades. What was going on? Bang, bang, he heard the sound of someone firing a gun. Did we get her? Whoosh, bang, a streak of thunder seemed to have flashed from within the smoke, hitting the other side of the warehouse. No, help, demons, please let go. Roy, who had no idea what was going on, began hearing the screams of miserable men. He wanted to jump in, but without making sure what was going on, he decided to stay up and watch. Especially after hearing Lara's voice giving commands. Surrender, she said in a firm, lovely voice. I am going to foo. Ah, thunder struck again. No, a guy is running from the back, a little girl said in a cold voice. Rin, bang, a flash of thunder. What was that? Some new secret weapon that his rich family developed? Roy wondered. Kyaaaaaaaaaaaaaa. Monsters. Ahhhhhhhhhh. Let go. Crack. Quote. Similar situations kept happening for the next few minutes till it was all silent after a while. The only sound that could be heard was the crying of adult men. WTF. The smoke slowly cleared shortly after to reveal the warehouse and sides, where a group of gangsters were scattered on the ground wailing with broken limbs and fried skins. They looked miserable. On top of that, they were all tied up with thick ropes. When did that happen? Where was Lara? Roy quickly spotted her. She and the other little girls were busy opening cages that were in the corner of the warehouse. From inside of them a lot of filthy-looking slum children began to walk out, crying as they thanked Lara and her friends. Oh, this was a rescue operation. Watching Lara slowly begin to question the kids, Roy could hear the sirens of police cars from the back, so he decided to slowly retreat. The girls didn't need his help anymore. Brother, you can come in. The sound of a little girl stopped him. It was Lara. Roy turned around and noticed Lara looking at him with a smile. Thanks for looking after us, big brother, she said, bowing slightly. She seemed to have noticed him all along. What a nice girl. Too bad she had no idea that she would probably be getting the first spanking in her life very soon. That was what Roy believed. Ellipsis. Margaret was in the company overseeing a shareholder meeting when the call came. Is there anything? She asked Elise, who contacted her. We have a situation. Hannah's master is here, and he has a kid with him. I believe it must be Sebastian, Elise replied. Did they enter the mansion? McGray asked. No, Hilda told them to wait until she checked with Hannah. Go with the plan, I will be right there quickly, Margaret said as she stood up. Problem? Arya, who was in the meeting too, asked. Abe, no, just something minor. I will take care of it, she said as she quickly left the meeting. Ellipsis. Master, we should just break in and retrieve my martial sister. The young boy said. That bastard can't be reasoned with. Sebastian, the master who wore an old robe, scolded. He had a white beard and long white hair styled into a ponytail. He was like those martial arts old masters in movies. Stop acting like a hooligan. In aristocratic families, there are rules to be followed. You must respect people if you want to be respected. He scolded. I can't believe I have to teach you this. But, shut up for now. You should have learned something after you got your ass handed to you twice. The old master scolded just as the middle-aged maid returned after going for a while. So did you ask Hannah? The old master asked politely. Yes, the maid replied, returning the master's jade badge to him, wrapped in silky velvet. She confirmed your identity and she wants to meet you, but only you can enter. The young man accompanying you will have to wait outside the gate, she said, giving Sebastian, who was standing to the side of his master, a disgusted look. Elise had told her that he was in fact way older than he looked. Not fair. I want to see Hannah too. Sebastian flared immediately. Sorry, the young master is not here at the moment, and he has left strict instructions that horny men can't enter the mansion in his absence no matter what. She said. But master is. Ouch. Sebastian screamed in pain as his master slammed his head and glared at him. I didn't mean that, Sebastian quickly explained. The way he said it, it felt like he was cursing at his master, calling him a horny man. Just wait here, you know what to do, the master said coldly as he raised one eyebrow and looked at Sebastian. Ah, fine, I will, Sebastian, who began acting docile again, said, before looking at the maid. Can you send someone to get me a cup of water and something to eat? I am really famished after the long journey, he shamefully asked. Of course, the maid said nonchalantly as she invited the old master inside, walking him to a luxurious golf cart that took them up the mountain. Ellipsis. You have some nice mansion here, the old monster said as he looked around, first at the plants, then at the little maids who he spotted running around in groups. It seemed like they were doing their morning training. Strange, why was the energy around them stronger than those disciples in his sect? He did hear that those in some aristocratic family gave their servants some kinds of secret drugs. This might be the cause. We do, the maid replied, noticing the helicopter that flew above her head heading toward the main building. Margaret was back. What can I call you, master? She asked. Many call me Master Orion, the old man said. You can call me Hilda, I am the head maid here, Hilda replied. Nice to meet you. You guys have some nice protection array here, he said, striking up a conversation. The young master spared no expense to protect his wives. Hilda, who was a little surprised by the old master's sharp eyesight, said. I see. Do you know how that array master he employed? I do, but sadly, I can't divulge such information, Hilda said. Victor did it himself, and this really surprised her. Oh, Sorry for asking, the master apologized politely. The cart didn't go to the main building, it made some turns and headed to a separate zone where Hannah's new lab was constructed right beside what looked like a military camp. There were burly tattooed men inside doing some weightlifting, but the old man was not impressed. The little girls from earlier were far more interesting, he was just interested in their strength, he was not a lolicon, absolutely not. Master Orion, Hilda called for Orion who was lost in thoughts multiple times. Ah, what, we are here, Hilda said just as they parked next to a 5-story tall concrete building. Hilda invited the Master Orion out of the cart, then guided him toward the lab's reception room, though Hilda didn't enter. Hannah is waiting for you inside, Hilda said. I will send you some refreshments shortly, she added as he nodded in response and then walked in. Master. Hannah, who seemed to be waiting, ran and directly gave Orion a hug. For her he was like her father. Hannah, Orion smiled heartfully for the first time ever since entering the mansion. Then he remembered something and quickly stepped back, but it was too late, Hannah was already hugging him. Your poison curse, he exclaimed. Victor removed it for me, she said as she slowly let go and smiled. Really? Orion exclaimed. How the fuck? He wondered. Yes, it was part of my deal to serve him, she said. Oh, I see now. Orion, who heard her, seemed to have realized something. Your brother was worried sick about you, you see. He is also here to see you, but they forbade him from entering. I know, Sister Elise told me, but the young master really doesn't like him ever since they had that quarrel in the auction. Oh, come on now, tell me everything that has happened ever since you left the sect with Sebastian. The old master nodded and took a seat. Ellipsis. Thanks, Sebastian said to the lovely little maid who brought him a glass of juice and some cookies. It is my duty, the little maid said as she held the tray with both hands, covering her little body. He was not into little girls, but this one was very cute, especially in the maid dress. So, have you been working here for a long time? Sebastian asked, secretly activating his charm skill, and slowly letting the golden clock that he held in his hand dangle as he ate. Hypnotizing a mortal was very easy, especially if he had such an artifact. His master let him enter the sect's vault to get some new artifacts after he lost his ring, and there, he found this thing. About a month or so, the little maid replied. Did they hire you or something? Sebastian asked. The young master saved us from some evil traffickers, she said. He gave us a choice and all of us wanted to work for him, he is very handsome. She added, smiling sweetly. Do you know Hannah? He asked. Yes, Mistress Hannah is very nice, she usually makes some candy for us. The little maid nodded. Oh, does she live with you? He asked nervously. No, she has her own building, she has a lab there where she does experiments for the young master. The little maid said. Experiments. Sebastian pondered. Hannah was an alchemist, so he could expect that much. Like what? I don't know, it has something to do with blood and poisons though, the little maid forced and said. The last time we went to clean there we were scolded as one of us spilled some poison and was almost killed. She said, looking sad. Oh, well, do you know about the relationship between Hannah and Victor? He asked. No, the young master usually goes to see her every 1 or 2 days. They spend a few hours together before he leaves, and after that, Mistress Hannah usually forbids anyone from entering her lab. Oh, Sebastian sweetened. Did they have anything romantic between them? Romantic. The little maid nodded her eyebrows. Like love and such, Sebastian said. Although he knew such things were impossible due to Hannah's curse, he had to ask. Ah, I don't know, but everyone except for Mistress Alpha likes the young master. The little maid said. Alpha, he didn't know who that was. Yes, she is Sister Hannah's cousin, that's all I know. Oh, Sebastian frowned, maybe this was bigger than he expected. What is your young master's deepest secret? He decided to go for the juicy bits. I don't know, the little maid frowned. Shit, the hypnosis was about to break, Sebastian silently cursed. He had to be more specific. I mean, what is the secret he told you not to tell anyone about? Sebastian clarified. Oh, well, don't tell anyone, the little maid began to whisper, looking around to make sure no one was listening. I won't, he lied. Well, the young master has a giant cock, she said, biting her little lip. A giant what? Sebastian was not sure he heard her correctly. A giant cock, the lowly repeated, emphasizing the last word. It is very big and majestic, she added with dreamy eyes. You saw it with your own eyes? Sebastian had a strange look on his face. Was Victor brainwashing his girls? Yes, most of the girls in the mansion did. The little maid nodded. The young master told us to be careful around it, but some of us couldn't help it and tried to pet it. It was very soft and fluffy. Big enough for all of us to enjoy it together. Fluffy. Together. Sebastian almost screamed. Did Hannah also? That was the first thing he imagined. The image of Hannah touching. What? Did Hannah? See her touch it. Sebastian swallowed. Impossible. Hannah had her curse, she couldn't touch anyone. I don't know if she touched it as the young master only allowed virgin girls to do that, the little maid blushed. But one time I did hear Mistress Alpha cursing at it, calling it filthy. Mistress Hannah rebuked her, calling it an amazing and noble existence that must be handled with care and respect. The little maid added, nodding as if she was agreeing with Hannah. Handled. Sebastian stuttered as if he was losing his mind, dropping the juice glass on the ground and letting it shatter. The emotional damage was too much for him. Ah! Young master, the little maid exclaimed, the hypnosis was broken. Ah! I need to go, tell my master I will meet him at the hotel. Sebastian said as he turned and left in a hurry while uttering silent curses like, bitch. Slut. Traitor. Ellipsis. You did good, Margaret, who was hiding behind the gate, told the little maid as soon as she returned. She was here just in case anything went wrong, but the little girl acted fabulously. Margaret almost fell to the ground laughing as she heard what she told Sebastian. I did what Mistress Elise told me, only telling the truth. The little maid said, but that hypnosis was really mean, I had a hard time holding myself. She said, it is okay, few can face a scion and live to tell the tale. Margaret said, this girl must have some nice bloodline to be able to resist to this degree. She needed to look her up. What was your name again? Black Summer, she replied with a smile. Oh, from now on, you will be my assistant. Margaret nodded then turned to leave before pausing. What? Black Summer asked. We have a new visitor. Strange, Margaret said frowning as she looked down the street.